Hi, this is Raul Mosley, the founder and director of the Fort Worth Portrait Project, and welcome to the 4th episode of this yet-to-be-named video series. This morning I had the opportunity to go to the Fort Worth Club downtown and join Leadership Fort Worth for Breakfast University. And it was a fascinating event, and I'm not going to be able to share all of it in one single video because nobody would stick with that type of content for that long. So what I'm going to do is divide it up into smaller chunks and release those over the next few days. But before I get to that, let me show you just a couple of pictures that were taken from the 12th floor of the Fort Worth Club. This one looks towards Sundance Square Plaza off to the northeast. And then there's a cool shot of construction. This one was taken with my cell phone, but you can see this huge wall that goes way down below the street level. I got out my longer lens and zoomed in a bit more, and I found a fascinating picture of what looks like a human holding onto the horn of a steer. So I thought that was kind of cool, connecting to the Cowtown motif. And then finally, here's a shot of the dome of the First Christian Church, looking straight down on it. Okay, up here on the wall, I have got the actual program for this morning's event, and it was created by Justin, the graphic designer at Hudson Studios. So this is the front cover of the event, and you flip over onto the inside, and it's got all the information about the executive panel and the moderator. So without further ado, let me go ahead and play this first segment in which Mayor Betsy Price asked the panelists to justify the economic impact of their higher education institution here in North Texas.
So we'll begin a little bit with a question that's important to this group. What are our area universities doing to strengthen the economy in Tarrant County? And what impact would you estimate that your school has had? Joy, we'll begin with you.
Sure, I'll start that. For most of us in this room, a college education began once we graduated from high school. Today, that is not necessarily the case. Students are enrolling in dual credit and early college high school programs. And at Tarrant County College last year, over 5,000 students enrolled in dual credit. And with the changes in legislation, that number is expected to even go higher. But these students are taking college courses at the same time that they're enrolled in their high school courses. And when they graduate from high school, many are also graduating with an associate's degree. That means that 18-year-olds are entering our universities as juniors. And because of the transfer agreements that exist between our institutions, the students and their parents can be assured that the courses they take in that Tarrant County College will transfer to the universities. And when these students graduate from the universities, most of them are staying in the area to get a job and live. So if I have to think about the overall impact or benefit to Tarrant County of the relationships and collaborations between Tarrant County College, our school district partners, and our universities, is that we're helping our students to get the education they need and enter the workforce faster.
Thank you. Anybody else want to mention their economic impact specifically? Brett?
One of the things that I think is really important for everybody to remember, because there's been a lot of press on this that casts some doubt on it, but the fact of the matter is that higher education is still the greatest socioeconomic elevator ever devised by man. The St. Louis Fed and the New York Fed, both recently in the last couple of years, did detailed studies. It shows that the difference between a high school diploma and a bachelor's degree over a lifetime is a bachelor's degree earns you 50% more. And the New York Fed's data looked at that and said on average, that's $1 million over the course of a lifetime. So when you think about, especially at Texas Wesleyan, more than 40% of our students are first-generation college students who are fully Pell eligible. What we're doing with that population here in Tarrant County is truly life-changing, not only for themselves but for their families. So the economic impact for Fort Worth is extraordinary, because most of our students come from the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and they stay in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. So that economic benefit goes right back into the building.
So I'm going to ask everyone to do a little bit of math, purely on the basis of some numbers that Fred
He
gave
did say
us.
he's an engineer.
So Fred, 38,000 of those are in seat, the rest are online. 60% of all graduates in terms of nursing in the state of Texas from RN to BSN come from UTA. We have one of the largest schools of engineering in the state. It's the third largest. We graduated 10,585 students last year. 65% of all those numbers stay in the local area. Take that $1 million and multiply it by that number of students. If you look around the room, I'm sure there are a lot of people who got their degrees at UTA. So currently we're growing at the rate of about 10,000 alums a year. Our number is over 200,000 right now since 1967. Multiply that number and multiply it by 0.65 and you've got your economic impact. In addition to that, there's a huge amount of research that is done, including at the University of Texas College and Research Institute, which is actually in Fort Worth. And that impact is also in terms of tying us very closely to the corporate world and taking some of the inventions that we have from our students and faculty. And if you add those new companies and the companies helped, that impact in 2012, and that's a while ago before we actually started the spurt in terms of growing, was $3.6 billion annually. So if you take that number now and take it to where we are, that's huge.
Michael?
Well, I'm not a math major, so I'm not going to use any numbers. Actually, I use one number. So I'm kind of the oddball up here, okay? I don't have any undergraduate programs. Our programs are all healthcare focused. They're all graduate programs. We have 5 schools, and then our 6th school is the new school, MD school. We're working in collaboration with TCU. But our economic impact, is significant if you look at it per student basis, because our students are professional students who come in, and many of them are employed before they even leave the campus with their degree. And so that's a huge impact that, probably if you totaled it all up with our alumni, our students, and our overall campus impact, it's probably closer to around $700 million for our school. So basically enrollment of about 2,500 students. The other impact that we have that I'm proud of is that our campus has an active accelerator lab. And the accelerator lab is really to take startups, and those startups come in, we give them full support. We have an executive in residence panel that comes in, former executives from Fort Worth and other areas. I give them advice and develop them. And the most recent success story that added true value to this area was ZS Pharma. ZS Pharma started with one individual in our accelerator lab. Recently went public and was bought by AstraZeneca for almost $3 billion. So that's the kind of impact you can also have even on an individual basis. And that's the winning story. There's many others who struggle, but the point is to create the access, the availability of that fertile ground to develop.
And ZS Pharma is a great win for this community. So thank you for your part in that. Victor?
I would just say, respectfully to everybody, blah, 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 to all your mathematical equations and all that. But the most important thing I think we all do is for instance, we bring 10,000 kids here who go to Chili's, they buy Cokes, they get speeding tickets to help the city, I mean, serious.
Yes.
I'm just a more practical person. I think the biggest economic impact we all have is we bring all these great people to Tarrant County who they and their parents spend like crazy while they're here.
And he's right. And fines and fees are a big piece of our revenue. And our college kids at all these universities are great to contribute on red light cameras and speeding tickets. And unfortunately, occasional DUI. Their parents hope they never hear that.
Thank you for watching that segment, and I'll share more from this event in the upcoming days. Just real quickly though, Leadership Fort Worth is now enrolling people for their class of 2017. In fact, tomorrow is the deadline. So I would encourage you to take a look at what they have got available if you're interested in leadership and interested in giving back more to the community. Up here I put a listing of the schedule of key dates in 2016, 2017 for this class. So it is like a 9-month, almost like university course in leadership, except you don't have to do a ton of reading. Instead, you get to interact with other key leaders in the community. I mean, they begin with an orientation. They have a community trustee day where they focus on their undergirding philosophy for the entire program. And then together with the entire class, they work through a number of key issues that impact the city of Fort Worth and North Texas. So a fascinating group, and I would encourage you to take a look at that. You can find information about Leadership Fort Worth and the application links to becoming a member of the class of 2017 by just going to the Leadership Fort Worth Facebook page, and all that will be there for you. One last thing, and this goes back to Leadership Fort Worth, I want to show you an art installation that is currently taking place on Magnolia Avenue on the near south side. And I'll just play us out with a little video showing the construction from that particular project. And we'll see you back next time.